What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the All Things Nerd podcast.
We're your hosts. My name's Chad.
I'm Jake.
This week we're going to be talking about WandaVision, Episode 8. And we do have some breaking news for you this week. By the time you hear this, it'll have been a couple of days old. But Amber Heard has officially been fired from the Aquaman 2 movie.
Justice for Johnny.
Hashtag Justice for Johnny.
Before we get into today's episode, we are sponsored this week by Crybaby Craig's. This is the best damn hot sauce around, a full-flavored pickled habanero and garlic sauce that truly goes on anything.
We're also sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks. It's the highest rated energy drink on the market. 0 sugar, 0 calories, and 0 crash.
Now, let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. All right, welcome back, nerds. Like we mentioned, this week we're going to be breaking down WandaVision Episode 8. Kind of before we can jump into this episode, it's a little bit of a slower moving episode, even though it's the longest episode in the season so far, clocking in like
47 minutes.
47 minutes.
And I think that's including the credits and stuff.
That is including the credits. So realistically, it's about 40 minutes or so. But before we do that, we should kind of recap just roughly how Episode 7 ended.
Episode 7 had a huge ending.
Yeah, so at the end of Episode 7 is when Wanda goes over to Agnes's house. She ends up in the basement, kind of in like a dungeon lair looking space. Yeah. Agnes comes around the corner, tells Wanda, "You didn't think you were the only magical girl in town, did you? The name's Agatha Harkness." For those of you that don't know or haven't seen up to this point, there's going to be spoilers ahead, so please, if you haven't watched Episode 8...
If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it, come back and listen.
Pause this, go watch it, come back, finish the episode. But Agatha Harkness was a witch during the Salem witch trials.
Which I feel like we both already knew. I mean, we mentioned it.
Yeah, we kind of saw it coming.
Predictions, but
it was kind of a very blatant Easter egg that was leading to the big reveal.
Yeah. But we finally get it.
And when it happened, it was glorious.
It's just as exciting if you didn't know, I feel like.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps.
It was so great. Agatha snaps her fingers, the doors slam behind her, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. There is an end credit scene, but it doesn't really relate to what happens in this episode, so we won't talk about it. But so Season 8 opens, and what's happening right off the bat?
Right off the bat, the first thing that we see is Agatha back in 1693. God damn it. 1693. We said 1700s. Why would I go to 18? Dumb. Anyways, 1693. They show Agatha. She's being dragged through the woods by some people in hoods. They tie her up to a post and basically start accusing her of being a witch. Or they ask her, "Are you a witch?" And she says, "Yes." And then the ringleader of the people.
Yeah. They accuse her of betraying her witch coven.
Yeah.
And breaking laws by practicing dark magic. They all take their hoods off. It turns out that they're all actually witches from her coven.
One of them she calls Mother. And I feel like we should talk about it because I don't know if she means mother as in like her mom or mother is at like the head of a coven.
I don't know. It could be either because they don't really go into it.
They don't.
The lady is old enough to be her mother.
They do a really good job at making, what's her name in real life? Damn it.
Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Hahn look like she's probably like 20 years old.
Yeah, they do a really good job of de-aging her a little bit. I mean, she still doesn't look as old as she is in real life, but they do de-age her really well. And they're basically calling out crimes against her for like practicing dark magic, practicing magic
that was above her,
like age, and they say station, but the way that it comes across, like basically her age and her status as a witch, like where she ranks in the coven, things like that. She denies it, and then the head witch,
she kind of plays around for a little bit, like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. She's trying to play the victim, but finally the head witch, whether it's her actual mother or just the head witch of the coven, is like, that's it. Enough deception.
Yeah.
And Agatha's like, well, I didn't technically break any rules. They just kind of bent to my will.
And then these witches just basically, I mean, I assume it would be what it would be like if witches were to burn a witch at the stake. They basically just like shoot like beams of like witchcraft out of their hands into Agatha.
The way that I saw it was that they're basically performing like a sacrifice ceremony to kill her because she's broken the rules, performed, learned dark magic that they don't approve of, but they want to acquire her magical power so that it doesn't get wasted, I guess.
So cannibalism.
Kind of. Yeah. Without the whole like munching on skin part. The chewy, the other white meat. Sorry.
Yeah, so
if anyone's seen the movie Extreme Days, it's a fluff film from probably the year 1999. Hilarious. It's a reference to that, I'm sorry. But so the witches are basically trying to take the life force out of Agatha.
Yep.
She starts kind of screaming in pain at first, and then she just kind of
you kind of get a little smirk out of her.
Yeah, a little bit. She like kind of like stops, like, this actually doesn't hurt. And then all the lights that the witches are like shooting towards
projecting onto her
are blue.
Yeah.
And Agatha kind of like smirks, just kind of like looks at them, and then the beams of light start to turn purple from her body,
go back to them,
back to the witches.
And then you see the witches basically just start like not decaying, but like
aging very aggressively.
Aging is the way,
Imagine
like their life force is just being sucked out of them.
If you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's like that, but it doesn't go so far as the faces melting off into full skeletons. But they basically, they age super quickly and become like mummified.
And then die. Yeah, they fall down and die.
Yeah. And during this time, the head witch, she kind of starts to like fly above all of them. She exerts like all of her power. There's like an energy field that goes around her head, and it looks like a crown, probably just as a symbol of her being like the head witch. I did read online that it might relate back to, it kind of looks like an Atlantean crown, kind of like the lost city of Atlantis and the magic involved there. I don't know enough about that to actually talk on it.
Which sounds weird because I feel like some people might be like, oh, Atlantis is DC, but it's also Marvel because it's not the same. You don't get, Arthur Curry and all that shit. But
you're not going to get Atlantis Aquaman, but there is just because that's myth and lore, just in human nature to begin with. That's where Namor comes from. He's one of the first mutants in the comics.
It's the Marvel version of Aquaman, for anybody interested in that knowledge.
Yeah. It's like if Aquaman was bred with Dracula with the slick back hair and the super deep V's. Like the deep V that goes past the sternum almost to the belly button, but not quite.
Yeah, because that'd be weird.
It's like a red carpet dress for a really attractive woman, but put on a dude. But anyways, the head witch is flying. She's trying to suck the life force out of Agatha because all the other witches are dead. And what does Agatha do?
Well, I mean, she sucks the life force out of Mother, and she also drops to the ground like a
decomposed sack of potatoes.
Sack of decomposed potatoes.
The Irish know all about that.
And that kind of that kind of ends the opening scene, really, and then from there we get the Marvel introduction, and then we go into back to where we were when episode 7 ended, which was back in the basement with Agatha and Wanda. We'll call her Wanda for now.
Yeah. We'll get into this, but it was Spoiler. A huge reveal. We finally get Wanda to be related as, or referred to as, the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. There's a lot more to it, but it was so exciting.
Yeah.
Because we all knew it was coming, especially the second that Fox was bought out by Disney.
I was actually really mad at you because when you told me about the episode, you really underplayed it. So again, Chad watches these at 3 a.m. on Thursday nights. I don't get to watch them until a day or two later. And when Chad snapped me about the episode, he's like, "It was a pretty good episode," and I was like, "Oh, that sounds lame." And I watched it, and I was like, to
I wasn't
multiple parts.
I wasn't as physically moved as I was with last week, where
the
my
week before,
heart was pounding.
The week before, he was
breath.
Pacing in his apartment. And he's like, "Oh my god, that episode is so crazy." So then now he downplayed it this week, and I was like, "You dick." Yeah, but still super good. It was amazing,
fantastic episode still. But so Wanda tries to fight back. Tries.
Yeah, it doesn't last very
long.
In
the basement, her powers aren't working.
Yeah.
So Agatha explains that it's because she's put a hex or a charm.
So if you recognize in the episode before, episode 7, when Wanda goes down into the basement, you see some symbols on the wall, high up on the wall. She kind of looks at them. They kind of make sure that you see the 2 or 3 symbols that are on the wall. Those are basically a hex that Agatha put on the basement, and if you're the witch casting a hex, then another witch cannot perform witchcraft in that hex or whatever it was.
Yeah, it basically makes it so that it renders any other magical user, sorcerer, powerless.
Yeah.
And Agatha kind of pokes and prods at Wanda at this point, "Oh, you don't know what this is? This is super basic magic. How do you not know this?"
Which I think, I gather from the episode and, the whole season so far, and everything we know about Wanda so far, in the movies anyway, is that she doesn't know that she's a witch.
Right.
Yeah, right.
She thinks that she just has
a power.
Telekinesis powers and telepathy. Basically, she can
Agatha,
control people.
Agatha is like, "How are you doing this? How did you do any of this?" And referring to the hex.
Yeah, and that the hex as in the boundary around the town of Westview, where this entire show is taking place. Agatha even says that when she felt the presence of all that magic happening at once, that's why she came there.
Yeah.
And Wanda tries to get inside of Agatha's mind, and she's like, "You have no power over me. You never have."
Yeah.
Basically meaning that Agatha was just playing a part on her own just to try and fit in, because she didn't know exactly what was going on.
Yeah, she was. So what Chad's saying is that throughout the season, when you see Agnes / Agatha, and she's playing the part of the neighbor or whatever, she was never at any point under Wanda's spell. I guess we can say spell now that we know she's a witch.
Yeah.
She was never a part of that. She was just playing along so she could see what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, she basically wanted to learn more about Wanda's power and understand it, because she wants the power for herself.
Yes. And she gets pissed at Wanda in the basement and starts saying, "How are you doing it? You have people under your spell miles away at the edge of town," which we saw in episode 6 with the Halloween episode. When Vision goes to the edge of town and the people are on a loop that we were talking about, those people are under Wanda's spell too, and that's like the most powerful shit that Agatha has ever seen. So she's like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, she uses the phrase at one point, like, your magic is on autopilot.
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing this? You're running complex spells on thousands of people miles away from you. Everyone's interacting as if they were all intentionally put under the same spell with the same parameters, but it's so automatic. And Agatha just wants to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So she decides, well, first she starts to ask Wanda, like, how are you doing this?
Wanda says, no idea.
I have no idea. Agatha uses her magic and, like, throws her around the basement.
Slaps her around a little bit.
And she's like, well, if you're not going to tell me, what was the thing that you said to your brother? Brother. We also learned that Pietro, Evan Peters' character, is not actually Pietro.
Which we all knew.
We knew, but we didn't really know the extent to it. We still don't know who he is.
She does make a comment where Wanda says, that was you, and then Agatha goes, no, not me. Maybe just my eyes and my ears, or something like that.
Yeah. She's basically just controlling Pietro just enough to try and learn what's going on, which relates back to the Halloween episode when he asks Wanda, like, how are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like, how do you do this?
Which was her just trying to figure out, like,
it was
what
just
she knew.
Agatha fishing a little bit. But, so Pietro's not Pietro. Agatha even calls him Fietro.
Yeah.
For fake Pietro.
Yeah.
And Wanda's still like, I don't know. And Agatha's like, well, what's that thing you told your brother? When this all started, you felt alone, despair, nothingness. So let's start there. So Agatha starts to, like, form a portal out of the basement, plucks a hair from Wanda, which is a really neat tie back to anyone that's watched the films. In Thor Ragnarok, when Thor and Loki go to New York to find Odin, Loki gets incapacitated. He basically gets put into a never-ending pit.
I've been falling
for 30 minutes! But Doctor Strange agrees to help Thor find their father so that they can get him and then leave Earth.
Yeah.
But in order to find Odin, he requires a strand of Thor's hair. Because he has to use that to tie it into his spell to create the portal so that it can lead him to a place that has that connection.
Mm-hmm.
So that same sort of thing happens in
WandaVision.
Sorry. With Agatha to create the portals into Wanda's memories.
Yeah, she takes a hair out, turns purple, and then she kind of lets it go, and it like moves, and it like moves through the air, hits a door in the basement. The door starts glowing purple,
and it transforms from like a dungeon-looking door into your average
door.
Suburban door. It just looks like a white door to an apartment. Now, before we talk about what happens once they go through the door, let's take a quick second. Let's talk about one of our sponsors this week, which is Crybaby Craig's.
Yeah.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today.
So, Wanda and Agatha go through the first door. There will be a couple doors. Sorry, spoiler alert. They go through the first door, and basically we get to see Wanda's parents and her brother. And her brother, and they kind of show that her dad is trying to sell like some VHS tapes of like old sitcom TV shows and
VHS DVDs, basically just English sitcoms, because they're Sokovian, which in the MCU is it's a made-up Eastern European nation that's under civil war. So to make money, he sells all this stuff.
Yeah. So then they show them doing like basically like a movie night. Like, we're gonna watch something as a family, and they all sit down and watch it. And it's, you know, like I don't even know what that show is.
They watched the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Dick Van Dyke. Yeah.
So a very famous 60s sitcom.
Yeah.
Starring Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore. Very reminiscent of the style that episode 1 of WandaVision is shot in. Mm-hmm. You know, they're watching the Dick Van Dyke Show. They're enjoying it as a family. And then it gets super like dramatic. Like, there's background music playing. You see a young Wanda like smiling, looking around, looking at her brother, her parents. Even though they're in this war zone, like literally, there's one scene where they look out the window and you see
and hear like shit going on.
And you hear like gunshots in the background.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But then the music kind of kicks in. It gets all like happy, like
dark and ominous.
Happy family.
I know this again because it says on the screen.
Because you're closed captioned.
I watch my TV with the subtitles on, and it says dark, ominous music playing.
I wouldn't have called it dark and ominous. I would have just. It's very cinematic.
Yeah. And
then you hear a crash, and everything from one side of the screen to the other just flies across as if, well, not as if because it's what actually happened, as if part of their apartment gets bombed.
Yeah.
And an explosion goes off and everything flies.
Yep. So then you get to see Wanda and her brother, Pietro, laying under, it looks like the dining room table.
It's under a bed.
Was it a bed?
Yeah.
God damn it. They're laying under some furniture. And you see the Stark Industries bomb basically land like right in front of them, and it says Stark Industries right on the side of it. And they kind of lay there, and you see the red light blinking, which Wanda has mentioned in Age of Ultron, that they didn't know whether or not the bomb was going to go off. They were waiting quietly for the bomb to go off, not knowing for 2 days whether they were going to die or not. This is also a little bit of a callback to the first episode of WandaVision in the commercial when you see the Stark Industries microwave commercial.
Yeah.
The whole thing is in black and white except for the red blinking light, which resembles the bomb.
And Wanda kind of like reaches out for it, like she's trying to touch it, and Pietro stops her.
No.
Something stops her.
Agatha drags her out of there.
Oh, that's right. Agatha like snaps her out of like this memory.
And she's like, "Did you stop the bomb?" And we never really get to see like if she did.
Never get a definite answer. Like, yeah, she asks Wanda like, "How did you stop the bomb? Did you put a hex on it?" It's kind of implied that Wanda is already a witch and just doesn't know it.
Yeah, so the big deal has been, up until now, that because of licensing and rights and stuff like that, because Fox technically owned the rights to the X-Men, which Wanda and her brother Pietro, also known as
Quicksilver
and Scarlet Witch, are mutants. And so when Disney's Marvel put Wanda and Pietro into the MCU. They couldn't call them by their X-Men names, and they also could not call them mutants. So they gave Wanda and her brother their powers from the Infinity Stones rather than from a mutant, the mutant gene. But now that Disney has the rights to the X-Men, in this scene they show that Wanda had her abilities long before she ever touched the Infinity Stone.
Yeah, so it's hinted that she did actually stop the bomb. They thought it just never went off, that it was defective. But it's hinted that Wanda actually stopped it without even knowing because she didn't understand her powers. So they're kind of... Agatha and Wanda are standing in like this destroyed ruins of Wanda's childhood home. Agatha turns, or like creates another portal door just in a wall, and it looks like an underground fallout shelter.
Yeah, it's the Hydra base
that was in Sokovia that we first saw
Wanda
and Pietro. It
was an end credit scene. Yeah, where they say like, what about
that in Iron Man 3 or Thor?
Ooh,
Dark World.
Question.
It's in one of the...
It was in a movie.
It's in one of the movies in the MCU. I think it's Phase 2 before Age of Ultron.
It was the movie before Age of Ultron. What would the movie be before Age of Ultron? It's got to be Captain America 2?
No. It might have been Winter Soldier.
No, because the end credit scene in Winter Soldier was... Oh, it might have been.
I think it was Winter Soldier now that you say that.
But anyways, it was a movie before Age of Ultron. The end credit scene shows Wanda and her brother. And they also mention the guy. Strucker, which was the name of...
The Watch from the second episode.
Yes. So Strucker is the one who basically introduced the twins to the Infinity Stone that gave them, I air quoted for the camera, you guys didn't see it, their powers.
Yeah. That gave them their powers, but so then Agatha and Wanda go through that portal.
I don't know which drink to grab.
Can't decide which one to go for.
I'm not as drunk as I normally am during these.
So they go through the second portal, and it is the actual moment that Wanda is exposed to the Infinity Stone.
Yeah. Which stone is it? It's the Mind Stone, right?
It is the Mind Stone, correct. And so...
Was it? Wait, no, because in the...
Because it's what ends up in Vision.
Is the Tesseract the Mind Stone?
No, that's the Space Stone.
Because in the episode, it's the Tesseract. It's in the scepter, and it comes out of the scepter.
The scepter, it was in a blue casing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it was not the actual Tesseract.
Okay.
You're wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. You're wrong.
Don't be sorry.
But, anyways, so we actually see when Wanda first interacts with the stone, it shows...
No, you're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You are wrong.
100%.
Because it's the same...
Because they break the casing and then they put the stone in the Vision's head.
No, because in Age of Ultron, Tony touches the Tesseract, which is in the scepter, and he gets
it. It's not in the scepter.
It is the scepter.
No, because in the Avengers, Loki has the scepter, but the Tesseract is in the machine that creates the portal. Look it up. We'll wait.
I don't...
Yeah. We'll cut out the time that it takes you to look it up.
Only because I want to just...
No, I'm
I just
right.
want to be sure. I agree with you. Hold on. I don't
Clearly
agree with
you
you.
don't.
I don't.
I'm right. Read it out loud.
Alright, you gotta cut out all the middle part there. Shit. Okay. Chad is right. Fuck myself.
Oh, weird. I'm right? That's so weird. Who would
Thor subjected himself to a vision which clarified that... No, but this isn't answering the question that I was asking, which is... Whatever. I believe you. Yep.
The hell? What is going on there? Does that hurt you a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I'm the one who read the comics. Like, I feel like I should have known
It might
that.
be different in the comics.
No, it wasn't. I'm wrong. I'm just going to admit it. I was wrong. Okay.
Say that again?
I was wrong. Can we move on?
Yep, we can move on.
Okay. Anyways.
So, Wanda walks into, like, the testing room. There's a couple of scientists and doctors monitoring her. Basically, she starts walking into the room, and then we get not quite a point of view perspective from Wanda because we still see her in the shot, but the blue
moves out
casing
of the
pops out of the scepter, zooms towards her, and then it explodes.
She touches it. No, doesn't she reach out for it? I feel like she touches it and then it.
She might.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Now that you
now you got me doubting myself. I'm wrong about everything.
On everything.
Yeah.
But the blue casing explodes away, and then you see the Mind Stone hovering there.
Yep.
For just a second, and then there's this glorious,
glowing light
scene in front of Wanda, where she basically sees
herself.
Yeah, a future version of herself
in comic book accurate costume.
Of the Scarlet Witch. Headdress, cape,
yeah.
Just flying towards her.
Fucking
her
awesome.
Her eyes go wide, and then she faints.
Yeah. In my opinion, there's a lot more shit that happens in the episode. In my opinion, that was probably the coolest thing. One of two very cool things.
It was definitely one of the coolest things, I would agree.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Marvel did release... It was like a limited comic book series, almost like a graphic novel called The Wakanda Files. It's basically as Shuri, the sister of T'Challa or Black Panther. She's been studying the Infinity Stones. This kind of takes place during that 5-year gap of Infinity War to Endgame. And she's been studying where the Infinity Stones have been, all that stuff, and documenting all of it. So the reason in the Wakanda Files that she found why Hydra chose the nation of Sokovia, not just because they didn't choose Sokovia just because it was under Civil War so that they could kind of operate underneath the radar, but it was because a large number of its residents held a genetic marker.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say what that marker is, but it was a unique genetic marker in a higher concentration of people as opposed to other places in the world, and that's why Hydra chose that space. What I think that genetic marker is would be the mutant X gene.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hinted at in this episode of WandaVision, especially earlier in the episode where a young Wanda kind of already has witch powers or at least intuition. Which would be really...
Okay, it's clearly not the case. Is there a ghost in here?
There might be. It might be. So my theory is that the genetic marker that Hydra found or saw in all these people of Sokovia was the mutant X gene.
Which would make sense because we are getting the X-Men and the mutants into Marvel now. Well, I mean, it's always been in Marvel, but now Disney's Marvel.
Yeah, into the MCU. With that being said, it also kind of ties into the fact that Wanda kind of already had her powers. So, by kind of already hinting that Wanda already had her powers, that's kind of how they can introduce the mutants later on down the road. But next in the episode, after leaving the Hydra base, what happens, Jake?
So then after the Hydra base, Agatha opens up another portal / door, and they go into they go into, what is that?
The Avengers compound.
The Avengers compound. So they show Wanda sitting on her bed. Vision comes into the room through the wall instead of the door. Wanda basically says, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, fuck it.
Yeah, he was like, I thought that maybe you would want to talk about everything, because... You okay?
I'm fine.
Because
I got so distracted between us talking and my dog, and then coming back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, "Do you want to talk about it?" Because she's...
And Wanda basically says, "Why would I want to talk about it? The only thing that would make me feel any better is seeing him again."
And by that, she's talking about her brother Pietro, because this takes place right after Age of Ultron. So basically, Pietro has just died. So on top of losing her brother, she also lost her best friend. In the comics, if you read the comics, kind of like brother with benefits.
What are you doing, twin bro? They're twins.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. In the comics, Pietro and Wanda have a incestual relationship.
Yeah. In the movies, they don't.
Well, we don't know that.
We don't know that, but we also don't know that they did. Oh, sorry.
Part of what we were going to talk about, until we got this breaking news that Chad was talking about in the beginning of the episode, we were going to talk about the funniness that it... Funniness? Is that a word?
Yeah, it can be.
The funniness that in the Godzilla movie, the first Godzilla movie, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who plays Quicksilver, and Wanda, who...
is played by Elizabeth Olsen.
Played by Elizabeth Olsen, are husband and wife. And they play brother and sister in Marvel, which was kind of funny to us because in the comics they bang each other. So
yeah.
We're going to save the Kong versus Godzilla stuff for next week because we got some other news last minute and we really want to talk about that. We'll get to that later.
But so Vision... I'm sorry, I can't get over it. So Vision is...
What are you doing, step bro?
No! Get away from me! But so Vision is still, there for Wanda. That's kind of where their relationship starts. And he's there. He comforts her, listens to her as she talks about, like her feelings of feeling, lost alone and then everything like that.
Well, and then Vision kind of gives some pretty cool context to himself because he basically says, "I've never had anybody to lose, so I don't know what you're going through. I've never loved anybody before, so I don't have that to fall back on." But then,
because before Vision was Vision, he was a computer program.
Yeah, he was nothing.
Yeah,
he came to life via Tony and the Stone.
Yeah, and Bruce Banner.
Yeah, so he doesn't know anybody. He doesn't have relationships with anybody. He doesn't have any family to lose. So,
but then he says the line to Wanda, and it kind of gives her perspective a little bit, at least in the moment, and probably further on. Was that the fact that she's grieving should be a good thing because that's proof that love is surviving, that love is prevailing. And that's kind of where that scene ends, and Agatha is like, "So let me get this straight. Your parents are dead. Your brother is dead. Vision is dead. Everyone that you've ever truly loved is gone." And she's starting to kind of piece together a little bit more about Wanda. And so...
why she's cray.
Yeah, why she's kind of gone mad and the whole Hex situation exists. And Agatha is like, "So once Vision was gone, you had nobody. So you wanted him back. And Wanda, under her breath, says, I wanted him back.
And
then another door appears.
And without hesitation, Wanda just fucking...
Wanda goes right through it. She doesn't even wait.
Because now she remembers.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And so the door that opens is to the sword compound that we see in episode 4, where Monica goes, but it's sword headquarters. And it shows Wanda walk straight up to like the desk.
She's like, I know he's here. I came back and he wasn't here. And I know you guys have him. I want to bury him. Like,
yeah, he deserves a funeral.
The phone rings.
Yeah, the phone at the front desk rings.
It's Senor Dickhead.
Oh my God. Basically says...
Hayward.
Yeah, Hayward basically says to the receptionist, or the front desk man, let her back. I want to talk to her.
I like that part, too. Because they're like, oh, miss, you need a key. And she's like, I got it. Bam! And just, like, blows the door open.
Yeah, she goes towards the door to go into the back part of the compound. And the guy's like, oh, miss, I got to buzz you in. And she's like, don't worry about it. And she, like, uses her magic, blows the doors open, starts walking down the hallways. It follows her as she, like, navigates because he's like, it's 2 lefts and then a right. She goes through the hallways, ends up at the end of the hallway, and there's a door. It says Director.
Hayward's office.
The door opens. It's Director Tyler Hayward, who we've mentioned before. He's a prick.
Yeah.
But it shows him. He's like, Wanda Maximoff. So great to finally meet you. Truly an honor. And he's totally kissing ass. And Wanda's like, I want his body. I am his next of kin, according to his living will. I want his body. I want to bury it. And he's like, well...
I got to show you something.
Yeah?
That's what he says.
Oh, yeah. He's like... I was like,
I don't have to
you have to show me something.
That's what he says. He's like, I want to show you something. Takes it to a window.
Yeah, and down below is where you see a dismantled
But
Vision's
it doesn't
body.
look like... To us, who the viewer, we know that it's Vision. But to Wanda, she doesn't catch on right away. She's like, what is this? What are you showing me? I don't understand what I'm looking at. And he goes, you said you wanted to see Vision. There he is. And then she looks closer, and you get to see the doctors are, like, pulling him apart. And, like, it's kind of cool because, like, when they're, like, pulling his arm off of his elbow, like, the mechanics in his arm, they look like veins, like, coming apart.
Yeah.
And, which also shows, like, how, like, intricate Vision was.
He was built as a human body, just with mechanical parts.
And then one of the doctors, like, or not doctors, like mechanics, whatever you want to call them, steps out of the way, and then you
Heavy
get to
diesel engine workers.
Yeah, you get to see Vision's decapitated head, with the Mind Stone that got fucked out of his head by Thanos, and then she basically starts crying and is like, "Stop doing what you're doing." Hayward's like, "Problem is, Wanda, he's not your property. You can't have him." And Wanda goes, "Alright." Bam! Blows up the window, floats down. All the doctors run out of the way, and then guys with guns show up.
Yeah, they all start pointing their guns at her. Director Hayward is like, stand down. Let her see for herself. And at this point in time, you're like, he doesn't seem like the dickhead that we've met in previous episodes.
No, you definitely feel that. He was doing it on purpose. He wanted this to happen.
I think that's just only because we've already seen, like, his true colors.
No.
But in those scenes, I was like, he seems like he's trying to be, like, there.
I think he was trying to let her see for herself that there was nothing left of Vision that she thinks that there is. That he's just a machine. And
well, he did make the comment that, you know, we can't just let you take his body because...
It's $3 billion worth of...
Yeah, but he also...
I almost said adamantium.
Of vibranium. But he also makes the comment that not everyone has the power to bring their loved ones back to life. And she's like, I can't do that.
So it seems like he wanted her to try and bring him back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what she does is she walks up to the body. She puts her hand over his head. You see her hand start to glow red, like she did at the beginning of Infinity War.
She says, "I can't feel you."
Yeah, I can't
Starts
feel
crying.
you. Basically, meaning that she's accepting that like he is dead. Starts crying, and then she leaves. She doesn't take the body.
She just walks away, which we'll get to at the end of this segment here, but which we as the viewer, not as the nerds talking to you right now, you think that she has the body, Vision's body, in the hex.
We were led to believe that she stole the body when she
did not.
And we're also led to believe that she broke into S.W.O.R.D. Which she didn't.
Also did not.
She was let in. She just bypassed the door lock and that was it.
Yeah.
And broke a window.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Fuck the window.
Yeah, I mean, it's glass. What's that going to cost? A $200?
So anyways, she leaves Vision's body there.
She goes out to the parking lot, gets in her car.
And on the front seat of the car,
you see an opened envelope, but nothing of what's actually inside of it yet.
Not yet. So she drives.
She drives north. You see her cross state lines.
Sorry, I'm like dying because we're like finishing each other's sentences in the past couple minutes. Anyways, go ahead.
We finish each other's
sentences. Oh,
that's what I was gonna say. Sorry, Frozen joke.
Yeah, Frozen. I knew it. Yeah.
But so she drives north. You see that she crosses into New Jersey state lines. She takes the same exit that Monica takes in episode 4 to go to Westview, New Jersey. But then she just drives into town. And it's a normal suburban town. It's a little rundown.
I mean, it's just like It's a small town.
It's a town in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, they all probably look that decapitated. Yeah. Like, decrepit.
Decapitated?
I meant to say decrepit. Because it's New Jersey, and that's America's butthole. Yeah, I said it.
Oof.
It's no Jacksonville, but it's close. Sorry. Anyway, so she's driving through town. We see a couple familiar faces of
Herb.
Like Herb. We see Frank, the guy with the big old mustache. We see Deborah Jo Rupp.
I forget what her name was in the show.
Mrs. Hart.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. She was good too. She got straightened hair.
Yeah, everyone looks modern. It looks like a normal town.
Yeah.
She's driving through. They're all kind of living their lives. But they all look a little sad too, though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they live in a smaller town, whatever. But she drives up into like what viewers would recognize as the neighborhood of where Wanda and Vision's house is.
Yeah. It's an empty lot, basically, that she pulls up to.
Yeah.
But you recognize
just
the
foundation is laid is all. And she gets out of her car, grabs that letter, opens it up, and what's written on the letter?
Oh, it says, where we can grow old together. Something variation of that with a heart written by Vision to Wanda. Basically, he had bought this land for the two of them to start a life together.
To build a house and have a life together, yeah.
So Wanda drops to her knees, starts crying, and then some cool shit happens.
When she drops to her knees, she's crying, and then she screams or yells just out of a broken-hearted pain. But when she does that, red energy, like what we've seen she uses for her magic or for her powers, just explodes out of her.
Out of her chest instead of her hands, which is a big deal.
Like straight, it's from her heart.
Yeah.
It just explodes out. It expands. All of a sudden, the house that she's
together
in, starts coming together, starts forming, it starts getting built on its own.
And then a second boom from the chest, which creates the hex that expands over the town. And then you see coming again out of her chest is this like yellow energy forming into like a veiny looking body of Vision.
Yeah.
Which it ends up being Vision, and then it ends with Vision starting the first episode, season 1, episode 1 of this season, saying, "Welcome home, Wanda. Would you like to stay in tonight?" All in black and white. That was kind of cool.
It was really cool to see, but it also shows that, one, she never stole the Vision's body.
She never stole his body. She created Vision.
Yeah.
In Westview, inside the Hex, which would explain why in episode 6, when he tried to leave the Hex, his body started coming apart. So in my opinion, and I think it's shared opinion with Chad, and I won't eat up this whole thing, but I think that Wanda recreated Vision's consciousness. She didn't recreate his... I mean, there is a body, but if he leaves the Hex, the body will cease to exist. Yeah. So I think she recreated Vision's mind, his consciousness.
Yeah, his soul,
which is why in that episode 6, when he's trying to leave the Hex, he's still Vision. He's trying to help the people, even though he's like coming apart. He's still trying to tell the people of S.W.O.R.D., like, these people in here need your help. He doesn't give a shit about himself because he is the embodiment of Vision mentally. Yeah,
and that also explains why, if any of you have noticed during the episodes, his eyes never looked robotic. They always looked human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of there's a little bit of if you watch the episodes and pay attention, at the end of every single episode, no matter what, right before the credits roll, or during the credits, I should say, they zoom in on Vision's eyes.
Yeah.
Every episode.
After all that happens, Wanda's standing in the living room alone. It's no longer, like, it's not black and white, but it is that 60s style era furniture.
Yep.
And there's bright studio lights shining down on her, showing her that it is a sitcom set.
Yep. And then you hear clapping from
like where the audience would sit.
The live audience would sit, yeah.
Yeah. But it's just Agatha sitting by herself. So she claps a couple of times, snaps her fingers,
gone.
Poof, into like a purple cloud, disappears. Wanda looks around for a couple seconds, and then you start hearing the twins.
The boys that we've been missing since the last episode.
Yeah, they're screaming for help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wanda runs out of the studio, basically, out onto the street of Westview.
And Agatha is floating in the air with two, purple, like, leashes?
Lassos?
Lassos? Yeah, lassos is better. Choking the kids. They're both screaming for help. And we get the coolest fucking thing since Wanda has come to screen. We get, what is it, Chad?
So Agatha is hovering, and she's like, I always wondered how you did this. You're supposed to be a myth. What you possess is chaos magic. Do you know what that makes you, Wanda? That makes you the Scarlet Witch.
So dope. So dope. Between seeing her in her comic accurate fucking costume earlier in the episode, which you don't see her face, it's like a silhouette of herself basically, like, through light, still fucking amazing.
Yeah, but we also get probably closer to an actual comic book accurate costume of her on the Halloween episode.
Yes.
But the silhouette that we see earlier in the episode of her in her comic costume is...
It was so cool.
More realistic, I guess. More modern.
Not as comic-y. Not as comical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more like what you would imagine, like a serious...
If it was real.
Yeah, like a serious.
And
then to finally get to hear her being called Scarlet Witch.
Which we haven't been able to because of legal rights from Fox and everything like that, but now they're able to retcon it. They can bring it back. Yeah. She's now officially been called the Scarlet Witch. Cut to credits.
Cut to credits. And episode's over. Just kidding.
Just like last episode, there is an end credit scene.
Now that it is no longer a sitcom show, if you are watching this show, I think, there's only one episode left after this,
Yeah.
but there will be an end credit scene in the traditional Marvel setting, is my understanding. Maybe
I hope we get 2
I think
in the next one, but I don't know. Because
think
that kind of became
we get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, that's way ahead of ourselves.
So we get an end credit scene, and it's basically outside of the hex. It's Sword. They basically say it's ready or something like that.
Yeah.
And they go inside of the base or whatever, and you see somebody, and they like turn a key, and they basically say it's ready to come online, and they show a bunch of like beep beep boops and lights coming on and stuff.
Tyler Hayward says, we've taken this thing apart and put it back together 100 of times. We've tried every single power source we could, and all we needed was a little bit of magic from the source.
Yeah.
And then it shows...
What was the source?
It was the drone that had flown through the hex. What was that? Episode 4?
4, when Monica first meets up with Agent Wu.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's... when they fly the drone in, and Wanda drags it out of the hex, throws it back at Sword.
Yeah.
So but it's like been glowing red.
With Wanda's red power.
Magic
stuff.
and power, yeah. The entire time. So
I guess now we can call it magic because we're finally there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they do is they find a way to harness that magic and reapply it to...
Which is the same magic that Wanda used to manifest Vision inside of the hex. So
and
now
the
they're
hex
like,
itself.
Yeah, so now why not use that same power / magic to reanimate
Vision's body.
Vision's fucking body, which
the
Sword had the entire time.
Yeah,
Wanda
never took it.
So they had it. They fucking reanimate it using Wanda's magic. And if you know anything about the comics and whatever, it's Anti-Vision.
Yeah. He's known as Anti-Vision.
He's a bad guy version of Vision.
The White Vision. He's basically...
Yes, he's the White Vision.
The bad guy. No, but they're calling it White Vision online right now because I don't know if they haven't officially called him Anti-Vision yet.
But yeah.
But it's a colorless white body.
He doesn't have
the Vision. There's
red and green.
Red, green, yellow. None of that's there. But it comes online. He looks at his hand,
opens his eyes,
moves it,
fucking cool,
and then kind of smirks.
Yeah. And predictions.
Well, predictions. Well, so that's the end of the end of the
episode. Scene. So now this is just maybe me and Chad because me and Chad have not actually talked about this at all yet, or what we predict is going to happen in the last episode of the show. So this is actually kind of fun. This is what this show was supposed to be about. It's just us bullshitting, drinking alcohol, and talking. So I'm curious to see where this is going to go.
So Anti-Vision is basically Ultron.
Yeah.
Ultron 2.0.
Only he doesn't have Ultron's mindset. Well, yeah, he does, technically.
He kind of does, because in the comics...
It's not called Ultron. He just has the same idealistics that Ultron had.
Because he doesn't have the Mind Stone, he doesn't have that morality aspect.
Yes,
it's all computer programming.
He's not compassionate in any way.
Yeah.
He's just a robot.
Yeah, so in the comics, the Anti-Vision is... He doesn't care about human life. He still wants to protect the world.
Yeah.
And ensure that the planet survives, but he doesn't care about humanity.
Ultron spent about 5 seconds being alive before he was like, well, people gotta die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. He basically looked online and was like,
this shit sucks.
We gotta kill some people.
We gotta undo this. So I think that's why at the end of every single episode on Disney Plus, where the credits start to roll, it tells you to watch Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Because I think they did that on purpose.
After it's over, up next is Age of Ultron.
Ooh, it never has changed from that. Age of Ultron.
That's so funny because I watched it last night and it did that. Yeah.
It's done that for every single
That's so
episode.
funny.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it did it for every episode.
Yeah, it's never wavered. It's always only suggested to Age of Ultron. Which is weird because, like, Wanda's character, or Elizabeth Olsen, has shown up in, Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. There's also Jimmy Woo, who's been in other films that are on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So, like, if it's suggesting things just based on the actors that are in it, it shouldn't only show Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
But I think it's because without the Mind Stone,
he's Ultron.
It's the Ultron programming.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. And that's such a fucking Marvel thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they do that?
Yeah.
They're throwing it in your face from day one. And also, this is just kind of a fun quip, because I don't know if we're going to get a major cameo in the final episode.
I think we are. They said, Paul Bettany said that Evan Peters is not the cameo that they were talking about when they said we were going to get a...
But what also Paul Bettany said was he never said that it was a specific actor. He never said anything about it being someone surprising after Evan Peters showed up. All he ever said was that it's an actor that fans have enjoyed, that he's always wanted to act across from.
Yeah.
And just like, Paul Bettany has trolled us before. He's also...
Who do you think it is?
It could be just the anti-Vision.
You think so?
That he's always wanted to act across from himself. He's never done that before.
Well played.
It could just be a giant troll.
Motherfucker, Paul Bettany.
If that's the case, I don't even think I'd be mad.
No,
I think that's funny.
No, it is funny. That's clever. I like that.
But where do we think that the final episode's going to go? Because now I don't even know if Mephisto has a huge role. Because we only have one episode left.
There's only... Yeah, he can't have a gigantic role. And
he could just be a
be
Thanos at the end of the first Avengers cameo.
For like the TV shows, because they do show his picture in Loki, the Loki series.
So he could just show up like we first saw Thanos at the end of the first.
I would have
Avengers
liked
film.
to have seen, if he was going to be the main bad guy and there's only one episode left, I would like to have seen more Mephisto. So now I kind of
I think that they might just be hinting at him.
Yeah.
That he might get kind of an end credits.
I'm kind of hoping he's going to, like you said, be kind of spread out throughout the TV shows, maybe throughout Loki, maybe even...
Well, I think that he'll play a bigger role in, like, Doctor Strange and maybe Spider-Man.
Yeah, with the, like, portals and...
Yeah, because they're all kind of, like, tied together now that magic is more of a thing.
Well, I'd like to see some sort of showdown. I want to see Monica fuck shit up, man, with their new powers.
I'm sure that she very well might. But also, I think that there's now two Visions because they're planning on sending the anti-Vision in.
Well, I think what we're gonna see there is a merging of the two.
Yeah.
Basically, in Infinity War, they're trying to split Vision from the Mind Stone. And now, if Anti-Vision goes into the Hex, there's a possibility that we could get Wanda to put this consciousness that she created into the Anti-Vision's body, and then we would get Vision back to life outside of the Hex. Or that could survive outside of the Hex.
Yeah. And I would like to see that because I love Paul Bettany.
I do too.
And I think that him as the Vision is such a fun character, and it provides comedy where there shouldn't be because he just doesn't fully understand human interaction. Yeah. Oh, what up? But it's just hilarious, and I want more of it.
Yeah.
That's really what I want.
Yeah. Even if he's not like a main, I know that Marvel is going for younger casted.
Yeah, but he could still kind of like show up here and there, and
I would still like to see him around.
He could still go off with Wanda, and when she appears or he appears, like they could kind of be tied together.
Sure. No.
Because I don't think that we're going to see... Well, we're not going to see the end of Wanda at the last episode of this, because she is going to be in Doctor Strange 2.
And Spider-Man 3.
And Spider-Man.
Yep.
So, I mean...
So she's not going to die in this, in case anyone's curious.
She's going to die so hard, and then come back, and then die again.
Okay.
And then come...
Okay,
Wait,
Henry Cavill.
This is not Supernatural, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Superman.
That works too.
Oh, God.
But I think that wraps up episode 8.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sorry.
No, you're...
Yes, minus the fucking supernatural shit. That wraps up season 8.
Episode
8 of season 1. Yeah.
The only season, probably.
Yeah.
But now, we do have some news that we just learned. So we record on Sundays, for those of you that don't know. We just heard some breaking news just a couple hours ago that is very nerd related. But before we get into that, I do just want to quickly talk about our other sponsor this week. It is Raise Energy Drinks. So just hang on real quick. We're going to tell you a little bit about it. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with zero crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, empowered by their Refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
For the second part of the show, we were going to talk about another segment. We had planned it out. We talked about it all week. We even went as far as watching the movies. There's 3 of them. We won't even say what it is right now. We'll just talk about it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. We had a segment planned.
But as we were prepping for tonight's episode, we found some awesome news, which is nerd related, like Chad said, and both of us who have expressed us multiple times on this podcast are pretty excited about this.
Yeah. Amber Heard got fired
from Aquaman 2. Justice for Johnny.
Justice for Johnny.
Yeah. So from what we read, we did about maybe 20 minutes of reading into it a little bit before we, I said, this is real last minute. We
sat down.
Fans,
and we were literally talking about the segment that we would have been doing right now, and Jake got a notification on his phone.
Yeah,
and was like, "Holy shit, this just happened!" And I was like, "That's it.
Yeah,
we're talking about that today. Yeah. We'll push that segment for next week."
Yeah, absolutely. And
oh, good God!
And this is something that Chad and I both have said multiple times on this podcast, is that she sucks. She's a horrible person.
Yeah, she just... So for those of you that don't know, Amber Heard used to be married to Johnny Depp.
What?
Yeah. Johnny Depp is so much better than her. Just in that same sentence,
This is a man who leaves his Jack Sparrow fucking costume in the back of his car just so that he can go to hospitals whenever he wants, dress up as Jack Sparrow and visit kids in the hospital as Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, like this guy, he's a fucking national treasure.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot change my mind about this.
Huh.
Like, Maybe he's done some shitty things in the past.
Probably. Who hasn't?
I mean, he partied with River Phoenix. I mean, I'm sure he's done some terrible things in the past. At least copious amounts of drugs. Yeah, at the strip clubs. He's definitely probably done blow out of someone's brown eye. I'm going to cut that part because God bless Johnny Depp. I'm not going to cut it. But Johnny Depp is phenomenal. Incredible actor. Incredibly just giving. Just charitable.
Look, man, during the movie Sleepy Hollow, the horse that Johnny Depp was riding in that movie, they were going to put it down at the end of the movie because it was old.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp bought the horse and still has the horse.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so for those of you that don't know, while he was married to Amber Heard, they had an incredibly messy divorce. It's still technically in
ongoing
legal dispute, but she posted photos online of
videos
of her, like she put makeup on her face to make it look like he abused her to try so that she could try and get more money from him, etc., etc. And she like filed like defamation lawsuits against him, libel lawsuits against him, all these things.
Lawsuits work.
Lawsuits in this case do work because she lost every single one of them.
Yeah.
Turns out Johnny Depp, the worst he ever did was raise his voice at her.
Yeah.
That's been documented.
I mean, I saw some videos where he was like slamming cupboard doors and shit like that, but I mean, who gives a fuck?
Slam a cupboard door, pay $13.95 at Lowe's
and it's
or
probably
Home
his
Depot
house anyway,
and replace it. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a little sexist. We can take that out. Sorry.
Well, it very well could have been, or it was her house. But even still, give her $13.95 for her to go to Lowe's and then be like, "I'll replace the door." It turns out that she was actually one that literally beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, faked the whole thing. But you said, I didn't read this, so I can't speak on it, but you said that she got caught wearing makeup for the injuries that she said were caused?
I think that she eventually admitted that they were fake.
Yeah.
Or someone else proved that they were fake.
Okay.
Maybe it might have been through like paparazzi that like the next day like there were no signs of makeup or anything like that, and no bruising. I don't remember the exact details of it.
You got to be better than that.
Yeah. I mean, she has professionals that work for her that do her makeup. You would have thought that it would have been better done.
Yeah. Can you make it a little less today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it turned out that she was actually beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
She would hit him, throw things at him.
Threw a broken vodka bottle at him, severing the tip of his fucking finger. She cut off his finger.
Cut off his finger and
I looked this up before we started this.
He had to have surgery to have his finger reconstructed just
There's
so that
pictures
there's
of it
enough
online.
finger.
Yeah.
So that he has a full finger. And all these things, there's audio tapes of her mocking him, of him literally just being scared, being like, "Hey, I called the neighbor. He's coming over." And she's mocking him like, "What, so that he can protect you?" And he's like, "No, because you're crazy and I need someone here if you're going to keep hitting me." Those audio recordings were found on her phone.
Yeah.
They were in her possession. She had the evidence to destroy herself. But what's messed up is when all this came public, Warner Brothers, the people that are making Aquaman 2.
This is where this ties into the Nerd Podcast. Sorry, we're just shitting on Amber Heard at the moment.
Well,
but
she deserves it at this point.
It ties into our nerdiness because
Warner Brothers Studios are behind not only the DC comic universe for
at least the
movies
cinematic
and stuff like that.
Universe of it, yeah.
Well, and the animated universe. It's Warner Brothers Animation.
Yeah.
But so she was in Aquaman 1. she had signed on for Aquaman 2.
Had a small part in Justice League, the crap version.
Yeah, the Justice League.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later. But on top of the Aquaman and DC part that Amber Heard was a part of, that's also the Harry Potter world.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
So, and for those of you that don't know, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is kind of a prequel trilogy to the Harry Potter films.
Yeah, about Dumbledore when he was younger.
Young Dumbledore and Newt Scamander, who wrote a handful of like the textbooks that Harry Potter uses in schooling. They don't talk as much about it in the movies because it's more of an obscure fact. But Johnny Depp plays Grindelwald, who was, on top of just being a very dangerous wizard in the Harry Potter world,
He's the bad guy.
he was also the best friend of Dumbledore growing up, and lover.
Yeah.
Yes. They were.
Did. Yeah, they did.
But Warner Brothers fired Johnny Depp because of the bad publicity, the bad press that was going on that Amber Heard started.
And they didn't fire Amber Heard.
They didn't fire her. And they have since recast Johnny Depp's role in those films.
With Mads Mikkelsen. Mickelson?
Yeah. I don't know how to...
One of the...
It's along those lines. They have since recast Johnny Depp's role even after it came out that Johnny Depp was innocent. None of the allegations against him were true. And in fact, everything was put on Amber Heard. This was like last May.
And this is why some of you, most of you probably know, if you're nerds and following our podcast, there is a hashtag out there that Chad and I have both been saying throughout the series here is Justice for Johnny. Because Amber Heard did not get fired from Aquaman, which is the same production company that fired Johnny Depp. And it was like, what the F?
And this was last May.
Yeah.
When everything came to light that Amber Heard was the guilty party. She was the
psycho.
She was the abuser. Everything that she accused Johnny Depp of was a lie.
She was literally setting up cameras and purposely like triggering him and then videotaping his bad reactions and then playing victim and being like, oh my God. Like,
but he never once struck
never did
her.
Anything, yeah.
The most he ever did towards her was raise his voice.
Yeah. No.
I mean, yeah, like a short temper isn't great on camera when you're yelling at your spouse, but like he never abused her where she literally cut off the tip of his finger.
Cut off his finger. That is wild.
But since May, there's been this campaign, the hashtag that we're talking about, the Justice for Johnny. People have been talking about boycotting.
This is what we
not
were talking,
Warner Brothers, but just Aquaman 2. Anything that Amber Heard is in, boycotting it 100%. Let
and you should still do that, honestly. Like,
well,
don't put her in any more movies.
Well, yeah, but today it was announced that she was fired.
Yeah, fired
Finally.
from Aquaman 2. Woo!
And now she's been recast by Emilia Clarke
from Game of Thrones.
Supposedly.
It's
still new, but if that's the case, I'm
on
totally
board with
on
that.
board.
Yeah.
I love Emilia Clarke.
That,
I think she's phenomenal. And in the right setting, I mean, can't even... It's going to be
Do you think that that's just a fan thing, though? Because Emilia Clarke and Jason Momoa were...
I would love to see it because they have such great chemistry. I think that that's the right choice.
They were husband and wife in the
I
first
want
season
it
of
to be true.
Game of Thrones.
And they have such great chemistry. They're really good friends in real life.
Yeah.
So if it's not true yet, I hope that's
I hope it is. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I love that idea. I just wonder if it's maybe just fans.
Well, it said in one of the articles that we're reading that was the first choice because of the fans' request.
So maybe she hasn't agreed to anything yet, but that's maybe where they're hoping.
Well, I mean, if Amber Heard was fired today or yesterday and it just became public today, like, I'm sure she hasn't agreed to a contract yet, but even if she hasn't, I hope she does.
I hope she does too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And if she has, like, all the more power to her to just to be, like, so ready to also, like, help out her friend's project.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, I'll step up and do it.
Yeah.
But the best part of the story, guys, is that even though Johnny hasn't gotten full justice, Amber Heard is gone.
Gone.
And hopefully, like, I really hate to be the person that wishes ill on someone, a celebrity even celebrities that I don't like. Hashtag Kardashians. I don't want to, like, wish ill on them as people, but what Amber Heard did was so disgusting.
Yeah.
And so just morally bankrupt, and there's already such a stigma against, like, men being abused. Like, we don't believe them. Like, there's so much stuff that's put down on, like, men's mental health and stuff like that, that the fact that it was ignored for Johnny Depp for so long, and he's such a huge name, that the fact that even this little silver lining of justice is fantastic.
Take it, yeah.
Just in general, if you're an abuser, you can get fucked and stay fucked. That's all I gotta say. I'll leave that there.
Next week, we'll be talking about some other stuff.
So with that being said, yes, Amber Heard's gone. Justice for Johnny. Step one. But next week,
going forward, we have the season finale of WandaVision. That's going to be huge.
It's going to be great. We're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about what we were going to talk about tonight before hearing about Amber Heard. And then we'll be setting up or getting ready for Schneider Cut.
Schneider Cut on the 18th.
Yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier on the 19th. So that's going to be a
the day
big week.
After.
So if you guys are watching this or listening, and you have a suggestion for what we should talk about in between, because there's a week from
don't make us choose, because we're gonna choose something weird.
Please don't. But yeah, if there's something that you want us to watch, I know it's really short notice, but go ahead, email us at hello@allthingsnerdpodcast.com. You can get a link to everything that we have going on if you just go to allthingsnerdpodcast.com. On top of that, you can find us on Instagram at allthingsnerdpod. You can find us on Facebook, All Things Nerd Podcast. We do have a TikTok because we're
19.
We're man children is what we are, and they're silly and funny, and we're terrible at it. But yeah, just find us on online social media.
Find us somewhere. We've been on YouTube this entire time, but it's just been our logo and vocals, our recordings. This will be our first week officially on YouTube with video, so you can see
with full video
how handsome we are and
how handsome Jake is.
How handsome
and the potato that sits next to him.
I was being so nice to you.
You fucked it up. You shouldn't have been. But yeah, so you can also subscribe, like us on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button.
Please follow us.
And then also on our website, Instagram, just about anything that we're on, we do have. We have our link tree, which has links to our sponsors. Has links to all of our other social medias, places that you can listen to us. Places like get Crybaby Craig's. You can get 15% off of your Raise energy drinks. I don't think we actually mentioned it earlier for Crybaby Craig's.
We're working on something with Craig. We're gonna. I talked to him. We're gonna come up with something. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but it'll be some sort of discount somewhere or coupon or something like that.
Yeah, something special for our listeners, just for you guys. At Crybaby Craig's, as of right now, still check it out.
Yeah.
If we have this,
it's not expensive.
If we have the promo code figured out by the time this episode airs, you'll find the link with the promo code in the notes below, or we'll have it figured out within the next week or so.
Yeah.
But
we'll get you guys something. So
we'll get it all taken care of for you guys. If there's anything like we
Leave
mentioned.
us comments.
Yeah.
We want to hear feedback.
Also, on our website, theallthingsnerdpodcast.com, there's actually a link that you can click on that says send us a message. You can send us a voice message if you don't want to type it out, if you don't know how to type it out, or you just want to like talk to us, send us a joke, whatever it might be. We'd love it all.
Suggestions too.
Suggestions,
for other nerdy
things,
stuff.
Yeah, if you want us
Ask
to check
us
something
questions. Correct us if we said some shit that you know that we're wrong about. We'll totally be like, oh, we were corrected by so-and-so, and we checked it out, and they're totally right. We were wrong. This is what actually happened. Please do.
Yeah. With that being said, we're going to close out the show here in just a second. All right, guys, thank you so much, and you guys have a great week.
With that being said, we're going to cheers out and
stay nerdy.